Hello and welcome to the Simple Worship Conversation.
The morning program.
Thank you. With
Shannon Moore.
I am back, and I was gone a week, and then last week Addison drove the car. I'm back. I'm driving again.
You're back driving again.
I had a little trouble letting somebody else drive the car. I tried.
You kept on wanting to push the pedal that wasn't there.
I did. Why don't you tell everybody who you are?
Hi, my name's Jack Stewart. I am the media and tech manager here at University Christian Church.
So usually you're on the other side.
I am. I'm usually the guy behind the camera, along with Austin Flores. But now I'm in front of the camera.
All right. Well, you ready to look at this first text of Advent?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Not an easy one. No. So we are in the 13th chapter of Mark, which finds us, strangely, as an Advent text, near the end of Jesus' life. He is in Jerusalem a few days before the Passover. He's been making the Pharisees and religious leaders mad, as he is wont to do. And he has sort of put forth this warning about the end times. And so now he's sitting on the Mount of Olives with a few of his disciples, and they're like, hey, tell us when's that going to happen?
What's going on here?
Yeah.
What's the deal?
We're in the know, and so
yeah.
Give us a little more. Give us than you're giving everybody else. And so then Jesus starts with sort of these dire warnings about what is to come, and then in verse 24 he quotes scripture and talks about when the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give light, the stars will fall, the powers of heaven will be shaken, and then they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds. The angels will come from the four winds, and kind of this scary sort of vision. So we're going to start at verse 28 and finish out the rest of this chapter, and then I'll start our 10-minute timer.
Great.
And we'll just talk about it.
Sound good? Yeah.
All right. From the fig tree, learn its lesson. As soon as its branch becomes tender and puts forth its leaves, you know that summer is near. So also, when you see these things taking place, you know that he is near, at the very gates. Truly I tell you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will not pass away. But about that day or hour no one knows, neither the angels in heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Beware, keep alert, for you do not know when the time will come. It is like a man going on a journey, when he leaves home and puts his slaves in charge, each with his work, and commands the doorkeeper to be on the watch. Therefore keep awake, for you do not know when the master of the house will come, in the evening, or at midnight, or at cockcrow, or at dawn, or else he may find you asleep when he comes suddenly. And what I say to you, I say to all, keep awake. All right.
Okay.
So simple worship is a short service. So we keep this short, so I'll set the timer. Boom.
Boom.
All right.
Here we go.
10 minutes.
What's going on?
What you got?
So here's the thing. We're dropped right in the middle of this, dialogue, right? Between him and the, everybody's sitting on the Mount of Olives, and they're overlooking Jerusalem, right? They're on the Mount of Olives. They're looking at the temple. Unfortunately, we're kind of dropped in the middle of this whole passage, and we don't get all that stuff before where they're talking about, the impermanence of things that man does.
Right, because when they came out of the disciples were so impressed with the temple, how big it was,
the big stones and
Jesus
everything.
said, one day it won't be here.
It's going to be gone.
Yeah.
And then he talks, and he foresees, the Romans coming in and destroying all of that. And, but it's kind of doom and gloom, right? And what's really interesting about that whole escalade, so that whole end times thing, right? What I find fascinating, personally, as I was reading it, I was like, man, somebody just bopped. I was like, am I sure I'm not in Revelations? Like, what's going on here, right? But it's a really good bridge, actually, between those Old Testament prophets like Daniel and Isaiah, right? It's very reminiscent of that and of Revelations, and it's kind of that bridge between the two, I think. That's what I thought.
Well, and as an Advent text,
it's odd for an Advent text.
It is, but there's also this something's going to happen.
Right.
There's
so
this feeling.
Here it comes.
Right. So get ready.
Right.
Now, it's not a baby.
Right? Yeah.
It's not shepherds, all of that.
No.
But there's this great sense of anticipation.
And I think that's probably why it ended up being an Advent text, is that anticipation that here it comes, let's get ready, be alert.
A couple of things stand out to me.
Okay.
Jesus gives two examples. First, we got the fig tree.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
what did you say about when I gave you this text?
Oh, yeah. I read it like, another fig. What's with figs? Figs everywhere.
I mean,
right?
from Genesis
all the way through,
all the
right?
way to Revelation.
Sure.
Fig tree
And
throughout the
obviously,
Bible.
if you do a little reading and a little backdrop, there is a reason for figs. For one thing, I think if you live in a desert, right, and you've got a fruit tree or anything that you're getting food from in a desert region, it becomes a thing of importance, right? I mean, it's a food source, especially something that tastes good as figs. I like figs. Do you like figs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Especially if they got bacon wrapped around them. Or
Little
stuffed
bacon and
into
shrimp,
a
yeah.
Newton.
Yeah, or a Newton, right?
Though I do like strawberry Newtons better than fig Newtons. But anyway.
I think the other Newtons are horribly underrepresented.
Thank you. I knew I wanted you on this program. But so with this, we have a very predictable thing.
Sure.
You see the leaves, it's spring.
Right.
You see the fig,
Here it comes.
it's harvest.
Right.
You see the leaves fall.
Sure.
It's this cycle that you can depend on.
Right. And it says, in there, the fig tree, like as soon as, it gets that first inkling of spring coming, it's going to start budding. Like it doesn't have a choice,
Yeah.
So be like the tree,
Right.
Now, of course, why is the fig tree, besides just being prevalent in the desert, but, it's as with anything involved with Jesus, there's a symbol, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's a metaphor there. And so it's a metaphor for Israel. It's a metaphor for the people of God.
Mm-hmm.
So be ready. Be like the tree.
And so then he says, this generation will not pass until these things have taken place.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. How about that? So there's some troubling things in here, right?
Yeah.
There's that little passage.
Mm-hmm.
There's the stuff at the end there where he's saying, look, nobody knows.
Well, and that was the other thing I was going to bring. We've got the fig tree, which is
Right.
this very predictable thing. See the leaves, see the fig, you know what season it is.
Right.
And then immediately he says, but it's not predictable.
It's not predictable. Y'all don't know. I don't know.
Even I don't know.
Even I don't know. And that's remarkable in and of itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have no idea. It's up to God.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's, it's the Father, and that's it. And that's all he says.
And Jack, this section from 32 to 37,
Mm-hmm.
it exhausts me. I mean,
Yeah.
it's keep awake, it's beware, it's keep alert.
But I think it's supposed to exhaust you. I think it's supposed to, well, maybe not exhaust you, but I think it's supposed to be like a stick poking you to keep you, it'll literally keep you awake.
Have you ever been in a situation where you had to stay
Yeah.
awake?
Yeah. The weird Boy Scout thing where you have to stay up all night and build a fire and literally stay awake all night while keeping the fire going.
Oh, and keep alert.
And keep alert, yes.
Otherwise, you might burn the camp down.
Right. But you have to do that. Like that's part of the ritual thing. And by the time you've been on full alert, like all night long, trying to keep the fire going, trying to stay like literally attuned to everything that's going on, like at the end you are punchy, you are goofy, and you start kind of seeing things, and like, you're like the human brain doesn't do well after a while without rest or sleep, right?
Right.
It gets a little strange.
So when do we get to sleep? Because this says that unless the master of the house, another metaphor, comes and finds you asleep. When do we only get to rest at the end?
I mean, if we're taking the metaphor to its full conclusion, then rest isn't going to happen here. right? Rest comes afterwards, metaphorically speaking. You know, rest only becomes after all of this comes to fruition.
And it is so hard to stay on the ready.
On point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know in my life I've experienced periods of melancholy.
Sure.
And
There's ebbs
that
and
kind of
flows,
thing.
right?
And when I sort of fall into one of those ruts, there's this familiarity. Even though it's might be a painful
It's
place
still
to be in,
yeah.
it's like, okay.
You don't really want to get poked in the back of the stick, but you're kind of glad that somebody's there poking you with the
Right.
stick. You know?
Otherwise, it's just so easy to fall into
Right.
complacency and to just forget it. You know, it's too hard.
Right.
But if Jesus is there, nope, wake
Come
up.
on, let's go.
Wake
Yeah,
up.
Exactly.
Because you got work to do.
Stay on track.
Stay on track. Keep working.
Right.
Don't-
And I think that's the thing, you know, is that, look, you don't know, I don't know. Your best bet here, people, is just to do what you need to do. Because timing is irrelevant.
And I feel like God did that to, well, God, circumstances, however you want to look at it, did that to Jesus throughout the Gospels.
Oh, all the time.
He would go off,
Yeah.
try to pray, try to rejuvenate, and then there's a disciple, or there's a...
Yeah. Or he's off into the wilderness, and then all of a sudden, you know, like, well, come on, God.
Then there's the devil.
There's the devil. Like, really? I just wanted to rest. Give me 40 days. Huh?
Right. So, one of the things I read about this text said our only, and I have it written in my Bible, I think from an old sermon.
Gotcha. Yeah.
The only faithful response is to be vigilant and stay prepared. And then out to the side in the margin, and I'm really not quite sure why, I wrote balance
Okay.
down the edge of the... Why do you think I might have written that?
I'll take a crack at guessing like what's in your brain. But I think if the only way you can, like we were talking about, that being on point all the time is really, really hard. And I think if you try to be, if you go over the edge on that, you are going to fall off the cliff. You know what I mean? Like, you cannot just stay on point all the time and be human. But if you balance yourself in your vigilance, if you're good, you know,
Right.
that's the only way to achieve that as a human, I think.
Right.
I don't know. That's my guess.
I think I didn't hit the time. I did. Usually it shows me how much time we have
You
left.
just wanted this to get over with.
No,
real
but I
quick,
thought
yeah?
this seems like it should have. We have 15 seconds left.
Okay.
So, this is a text that used to terrify me
Yeah.
as a younger person.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But now it's sort of this
Do you
hopeful.
feel an odd comfort out of
I
it?
do. It's sort of
Yeah.
like, one day it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
I get it. One day it's
Right.
gonna. There is rest. There is something to look. To anticipate that the work is worth it.
Sure.
And not that we do it only for reward.
No, but yeah, this is what's coming, y'all.
Right. Ooh, that's the best Advent slogan yet. It's coming, y'all.
It's coming, y'all.
I love it.
We can use it for next year.
Yes, we'll put it on the thing. Thank you so much.
Sure, absolutely.
For stepping around to the other side of the camera.
I know,
And,
it's odd for me
Does this
being on
mean
this
now
side.
I have to produce a worship
Yeah,
service?
actually, next time. Yeah.
Oh, that would be bad. I hope that your first week of Advent is one filled with vigilance and anticipation.
There you go.
And something's coming, y'all. Have a great week.